I was wrong. Apologies to my daughter. I recently made a video trying the best I knew how at that moment to communicate my concerns to my daughter. The link to that video is below. I said in the beginning of that video that I am guided by my soul. Yet again, my mendacious ego has tricked me into believing that it was my soul talking to me. This is what ego does best. Even when I'm very aware of how the ego operates and the fact that ego has many, many tricks, I continue to get caught up in his lies. Even though I am Luba's mother, I do not know what journey her soul is on. And therefore, I cannot know what is best for her, even if I have my very strong opinions. These opinions are just that, my opinions, based on my perceptions at this time. Almost 2 weeks after the release of that video, I received a short email from Luba with lots of fuck this and fuck that. I recognize the deep suffering, despair, and confusion my daughter is experiencing. And of course, my mother instinct is reacting, hoping that I can somehow help alleviate my daughter's suffering. However, I am also conscious that this suffering that we are both experiencing is a tiny representation of the overall human suffering on earth at this time. One single and sincere look at the present world situation is enough to convince anybody it has reached a point of no return. The basic structure of society is collapsing, starting with family life. Earth and its inhabitants are expressing perpetual suffering and abysmal despair. Humanity is heading towards a monumental dead end. Here's a quick summary of my story. I met Lee, an American who lived in Florida, at an investment conference in Cancun, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, in 2002. We just celebrated 20 years of our meeting. I remember that during one of the presentations of the conference, they were showing a movie clip about the planes flying into the World Trade Center towers. That was when my awakening started. At the time, I did not allow myself to believe that Lee would be interested in a complete family. My daughter Luba was 10 years old, and my son Greg was 8. Belonging to a family was, in fact, Lee's deepest need and desire. Even life in very cold winters of Ottawa, Canada, did not scare Lee away. We were married on a cruise ship. Luba and Greg celebrated with us. Life with Lee was amazing for almost 10 years. We traveled the world with Luba and Greg, mostly by cruising. In early 2003, Lee introduced me to paradigm education. The minute I heard this information, I could not stop myself from trying to share it with others. We promoted this human rights education because we believed we had found the truth. Further, I believed that I had to inform others of the imminent world financial collapse. I openly stopped paying income tax, and the government did not bother me for years. I believed that their tacit acceptance was proof that I was right. Lee and I were arrested for income tax evasion and promotion of Paradigm Education December 6th, 2011. This was what we can call a shock situation for both of us. My son turned 18 and my daughter 20 just after our arrest. Therefore, legally, they were both adults. Before the arrest, CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, was shutting me down by freezing all of my bank accounts, one by one. Without a bank account, I could not run my dental practice. In a final survival effort, I asked Luba to open a bank account and take over the finances for the practice. Luba, the loving, good daughter, agreed to help out her mother. Within a very short time, her bank account was closed and she was fined almost $200,000. Luba had to declare bankruptcy to get out of this dilemma, which I created. To this day, Luba has not been able to forgive me and emotionally move past this crisis. Throughout my jail time, which lasted more than 2 years, and 3.5 years of jail time for Lee, I was convincing myself that both of my children had an understanding that my passive non-compliance of not paying income tax and Lee trying to educate others about the fraudulent taxation scheme was the right and courageous thing to do. However, 10 years later, both of my children have virtually no communication with me. My son was inoculated because he's surrounded by obedient white sheep. Luba held out and did not get vaccinated. However, with her last email, she is informing me that I'm the strongest and healthiest I've ever been in my entire life. This vaccine will not affect me. I don't give a fuck anymore. Now, I can say I failed miserably and completely. 20 years of trying to bring this information to my family, and this is the end result. It is what it is. I accept my ego's failure and I rejoice because I recognize that it was the ego that failed, not me. The elite know that they must maintain a division between body and soul at the person level. This is how they can continue to control each human being. This is what the Venom operating system is designed to do. However, when I remember who I am, I find the key which opens the door to the union of my body and my soul. Guy used this truncated pyramid to illustrate the one and only conflict, the separation between me, the ego I, and my true self, my soul. When I create the union of my body with my soul, I end the war. The inner conflict stops. With no conflict, there is no illness. I can now achieve unlimited health. The transformation starts to happen internally in every cell of my body. I express this consciousness in my daily life, and distance myself from the survival program. I choose to live. Right now, with the crown virus and the coming Great Reset, more and more humans will get to the point of no return and scream loud and clear, I've had enough of this nonsense. I must get out of this hell on earth, no matter what it takes and what happens to me. Because staying in this hell on earth is absolute insanity. At this limit point, the body searches and finds its long forgotten soul. The body can now make the ultimate decision. And eventually, when the body wakes up, it can start its transformation through daily conscious action. The Great Reset we are entering will force more and more individuals to make the decision and jump out of hell on earth into the complete unknown. The unknown is scary, but I can say from first-hand experience, it is better than the known hell on earth, which is becoming more and more hellish by the day. Would I have had the courage to let go of all of my possessions without the help of the system that incarcerated me and left me with only one good choice? The choice to detach myself from my big personality with lots of money. My strong ego fought me with everything it had, but finally, my soul took over and created the hellish jail experience, which turned out to be the perfect opportunity. Here is the short explanation of the title of my book. True freedom is inside of me. I was physically in jail, but while inside, incarcerated, I was freeing myself from my ego, the ego that keeps most minds imprisoned for an entire lifetime. I was slowly connecting to the spirit within me, and this was all happening while I was inside a physical prison. I started slowly moving towards true freedom, the freedom that can never be taken away from me. I am not what I do. I am an individualized soul having a wonderful human experience with all its transitional challenges. If I know who I am, I can ignore those ego messages and regard the opinions of others for what they are, simply their opinions. I was taught to pursue the approval and validation of virtually everyone in position of authority throughout my life. When I give more value to the opinions of others than to my own self-assessment, I keep myself separated from my soul. When I align myself with my soul, what appeared to be missing begins to show up. Infinite love. It is up to us not to comply, yet have compassion towards others, no matter where they are at on their evolutionary path of consciousness. Every day, I must reinforce my resolve to move forward on my evolutionary path towards the new species. Let us rejoice Because everything that unfolds in the world of lies is only an illusion. And this world of lies is disintegrating before us exponentially. From hell on earth to paradise on earth, we are building what many said was impossible. Consider joining us in our consciousness community on the edge of the town of Popayan in southern Colombia. This is an invitation for a long-term stay at Cascada Café Retiro in Colombia. There is absolutely nowhere to hide. Having said that, in Popayan there is good food growth throughout the year, and the temperate mountain climate makes life very comfortable here. Will you join us in this paradise on earth? I consult by phone and offer tools so that you can find your individual solution by making contact with your soul. Please share my videos so that this information can reach the people who need it. Infinite love.